This is embarrassing, but 80% of English learners sound like this. Hello, how are you today? After meeting more than 5,000 English learners from around the world, I discovered that the number one thing that makes their English sound fake is not knowing the actual phrases that English speakers use. So in today's video, I'll cover 4 real-life situations with 10 phrases each that native speakers actually use in real life. Now, let's go straight to number 1. Ordering at a cafe or a restaurant. Here's a phrase that native speakers always use. They say, "Can I see the menu, please?" Another one they say is, "I'd like coffee with milk." Everybody needs energy and coffee makes you go. The next one is when you don't finish your food or you just want to leave the place where you bought the food, you can say, "Can I get this to go?" And maybe you're one of those people who doesn't eat meat. Hey, I have nothing against you. Do what you do. But here's what you should say. Do you have any vegetarian options? Now, sometimes the small portion or the small drink just won't do. You need something bigger. And native speakers like to say, "Could you make it a large, please?" When you've finished eating or finished whatever you've ordered, then it's time to pay. Oh yes, your favorite time of the meal, right? And native speakers say, "Can I have the check, please?" Or they might just say, "Check, please." Now, usually when we go somewhere and we order food, everything comes out great, right? But sometimes something just isn't right. And that's when you can say, "Excuse me, I think there's a mistake with my order." Also, sometimes you go to a new place, right? It's fun to go to new restaurants or cafes, and you don't know what they have or you don't know what's good there. So you might ask the waiter or waitress, or they might call them your server. You might ask them, "Can you recommend something?" Of course, they're going to recommend the most expensive thing on the menu, but hey, maybe that's what's best. Now, the next one is something that I love to do. When I see that someone else has a dish that looks really, really good, I like to say, "I'll have the same as them." That makes it really easy and you don't have to read the menu. And then at the end of your meal, sometimes the waiter or waitress or server will ask you how your meal was. They'll say, "Did everything turn out okay? How was it?" And you can say, "That was delicious. Thank you." Now, before we go to situation number 2, I have a small favor to ask you. We're trying to hit 5,000 subscribers on this channel. And if you're not subscribed already, click that subscribe button. It only takes a second. And now let's talk about the second situation, which is shopping conversations. When you're buying something at a shop or a store, sometimes you've got to talk to somebody. And probably the most important question to ask is, how much is this? Right? You can ask, how much does this cost? But you can also just say, how much is this? Maybe you're buying some shoes or a shirt, things that come in different sizes. And maybe the first one that you try on is too small or too big. So you can ask, "Do you have this in a different size?" Or maybe the person working at the store is showing you something really cool and you like it, but you're not sure if it's right for you. And you can ask, "Can I try this on?" Now, I don't know if you are like me, but I tend to be very price sensitive, which means I'm always looking at the price. So a good question to ask is this on sale? So if they told me I can try it on and they told me that it's on sale, then I might actually buy it. But if it's something like a shirt or pants or shorts, then I'm probably not going to try those on in front of everybody. So I'm going to ask, "Where can I find the fitting room?" Or "Where can I find the dressing room?" Or "Where can I find the changing room?" And after that, I've tried it on and I like how it fits. It's good on me. The only thing is, I don't like pink. So I'm gonna ask them, "Do you have this in another color?" Yeah, blue is more my style. But you know what? It seems like today everybody's trying to sell something to you all the time. I mean, you walk into a shop and immediately people are trying to get you to buy something. And so sometimes you just want to walk into the shop and look around and you can tell them, "No thanks, I'm just looking." Or you can shorten this phrase and say, "Just looking." Now let's say that you found something that you do want to buy. How are you going to pay? With cash? By card? So you might ask, "Can I pay by card?" Or "Can I pay with a card?" Sure, you can say "with a credit card," but you don't have to say the word credit. Everyone understands what kind of card you're going to pay with. And sometimes the person at the shop will ask you how you're going to pay. They'll say, cash or credit? And you can answer credit if you're going to use a credit card. And what if you're not buying something for yourself, but you're buying something for someone else? Maybe it's for a holiday, maybe it's for their birthday. You can say, could you gift wrap this for me? Because to gift wrap something means to put special paper around it so that you can give it as a gift. And last, but certainly not least, you want to get that little piece of paper that says, you paid. So you say, can I get a receipt, please? And that brings us to situation number 3, which is making plans with your friends. This is where I hear a lot of English learners make a ton of mistakes that just makes them sound weird and awkward. And probably the most important phrase here is, what are you doing tonight? This means that we're asking about the person's plans for the evening. Yes, we say night instead of evening. A lot of native speakers do this. So I'll say, hey, what are you doing tonight? And that might mean that I want to invite you somewhere and I'm checking if you're already busy. So I'm asking, what are you doing tonight? Or maybe you want to invite someone to a restaurant. You can say, hey, you want to grab dinner later? Native speakers like to use the verb grab when they talk about going out to a place, not at their house, not at your house. And usually this means that it's going to be quick. So we can say, do you want to grab a bite to eat? Or maybe we can grab drinks tomorrow. When we're talking about plans, we usually have to think ahead. And so we might ask someone, are you free this weekend? In this case, free means that you don't have plans. You're available. But I don't know if you're like me. Sometimes I just want to spend time with a person and I don't have a plan. So I might ask them, where should we go? Or what should we do? Or where do you want to go? Or what do you want to do? Now, I hate it when plans change, but that's life, right? Things change. And when things change, you might need to tell the person that you can't do what you said you were going to do before, especially when you're going to meet them somewhere. So you might say, I can't make it tonight. How about tomorrow? I can't make it means I can't go, or I can't be there. And maybe someone else is trying to make plans with you. They tell you all the details of the plans and they say, do you want to do it? Are you in? You can say, sounds good. See you there. Or you can say, I'm in, which means I'm going to do it. But what happens if you can't make plans? Sometimes you need to say, well, we should make plans later, even though it didn't work now. And you might say something like, let's catch up soon. To catch up with someone means that you talk about what's new with them and what's happening in their life. Another thing that native speakers love to do is to check that the plans are still happening and the person is coming. People forget stuff all the time, so we need to check. One way that we can do this is we can say, text me when you're on your way. To text someone means to send an SMS, a text message with your phone. And listen, I'm not gonna judge, but a lot of native speakers want to keep their doors open. They don't want to commit to plans. And sometimes they will tell you something like, I'll let you know if anything changes. For example, you might say, hey, can you come to my house on Saturday? And they'll say, I think so. I'll let you know if anything changes. Wow, you just heard me explain 30 different phrases from 3 different situations. And now we're going to talk about the last situation. But first, let me ask you a question. Can you learn to swim by reading about water? No, you can't. Maybe you thought you could, but you can't. And the same is about English. You can't learn how to speak just by studying words. That's why I want to invite you to my free seminar where I'll give you the one tool that makes speaking English easier than it's ever been before. And no, it's not an AI robot. So now let's talk about the last situation, which is when we talk about problems and solutions to problems. If you're watching this video right now, then you don't have this problem, but it's a common problem to have these days. You might say, my internet isn't working. I hate when that happens. Another common situation is when you can't get in your house or your car and you say, I lost my keys. Now, in our house, we have a common problem because I like it to be cold in the house and my wife likes it to be warm. So she might say to me, the AC is too cold. AC means air conditioning. Write in the comments and let me know what you think the ideal temperature in your house is. Now, another situation that can happen is you made plans with someone and then something happens and you are going to be late. Now, native speakers don't usually say, I am going to be late, They say, I'm running late. It doesn't mean that they are running to that place. It just means that they will be late. Another thing that can happen is sometimes stuff just doesn't work. Like, hey, is this microphone on? What's happening? So you might ask someone, can you help me fix it? And then that person might answer back, let me see what I can do. And this basically means I will try. That's a good phrase even when you're making plans. Like you invite your friend over for dinner and dinner is going to start at 6. Hey, will you be there at 6? Let me see what I can do. It means I will try to be there at 6. Maybe I have to check my calendar first. If you're having computer problems or problems with different electronics or machines, then someone might tell you, try restarting it. And to restart something means to turn it off and then turn it on again. Now, sometimes you have a problem that you can't solve yourself, and you ask someone else to do it. And what they might say back to you is, don't worry, I'll handle it. And to handle something means to take responsibility or to do it for you. So if you're having problems learning English because you don't have speaking practice, don't worry, I'll handle it. But very often a problem requires more than one person to solve it. And that's when they might not say, I'll handle it, but they might say, let's figure it out together. To figure something out means to find the answer. So there you have it, 40 phrases that native speakers use in everyday English. And if you want to learn 45 different ways to say, I'm leaving, then click the link and I will see you on the other side.